So we had many
This
people
is West
stop by our
Virginia,
house.
right?
Well, yes, and all of
Wow.
West Virginia is not small, but
No.
we did have several people through the house who
Wow.
witnessed this with us.
Okay.
And so
So when you say water was pouring out from what? Just from nowhere in the middle of the air, out in the air?
Yes.
Or from the ceiling?
yes, at
or-
first we didn't realize where it was coming from because it would literally spray past you, and you would hear it. You would know it came from this direction, and you would turn and you would see nothing that was abnormal. The wall was intact. There was nothing there like a water pipe that you would think had just burst.
Right.
Right.
And there was actual water where it had sprayed maybe across the room, running down the wall, and you could go up, you could feel the water and see the water. And that is one thing that made that
Wow.
particular paranormal activity different than some paranormal activities. Say, for instance, that you have 5 people in a room,
Right.
and 2 of those people one of those people may see a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
The other people may not see it.
Right.
But in this case, and we did have many paranormal apparitions and so forth, hands pressed through the wall, eyeballs floating in the house. Everyone did not see those things, but the water was the predominant, and that's hence the title, Rain No
Right.
Evil.
Okay.
That was the predominant feature of the paranormal experience.
Mhm.
So that water was seen by everyone that stopped
Wow.
by.
So it
Could
made
you
sure.
hear it, the water?
You could absolutely hear it spray. Yes, because you would hear it spray like, imagine an invisible water hose, if you will, that someone stuck in and just shot across the room, and you would absolutely hear it hit the wall
Oh, so you
or
didn't
set
see
off
it,
the
you just
fire
saw the water
alarm.
there.
Yes, or bust a light bulb if the light bulb. We had
Right.
light bulbs that were open, and I say open with an open fixture,
Right.
and it would bust the light bulb. So
Bust
things,
the light bulb?
yes, things that
That's-
you don't
that's-
think
yeah.
of until you're
I mean,
sitting
that's-
there
yeah,
and it
that's
happens, and you're
a
like,
lot of
"Whoa."
pressure.
Yes, and it was entirely all over the house. But
Wow.
the reason I shared this story initially was, it was fantastic. It was bizarre. I'd never heard of anyone who had any kind of experience like this. And it took several weeks for me to realize what was going on. And your original question, I remember now, was, did my friends think I was crazy?
Yeah.
Well, no, they didn't. We didn't initially jump to that conclusion, though. See, we didn't initially know that there was actually a spirit in the house.
Okay.
So it took several weeks. But most people didn't. They just would come by, oh, you've got a ghost in your house, and kind of laughing about
Well,
it,
that's what I'm saying. When you turn around and you tell people, I've got a ghost, or I feel this, or I feel that, and then they tend to look at you like, yeah, okay, whatever you're saying, I believe you.
Now, my
I mean, I know
husband-
I've had that experience.
What did you have happen?
I'm not going to get into a lot of it because this is Michelle's time.
Right, but I know
But
you.
I have had, yes, and Michelle can probably tell you, like I do, when I see people out and I see these people claiming that they're psychics and that kind of thing. Do you ever see anybody that's not really a psychic, if they claim to be, and they're fooling people? You ever feel like you want to call them out on it?
No, I don't really feel it's my place to call people
No,
out on
but
it,
don't you feel like you're
I
ripping people off?
I have definitely ran into people who have professed to know this or that, and
Right.
it may not be true, but you do have to be very discerning in who you go to if you're
That's
if
right.
you're getting into that. That there were several people though that would stop by the house, and my ex-husband at the time was very hesitant for me to share
Sure.
this story because he didn't want people to think that.
Well,
like you
that's
said,
the
like
kind
we
of
were
reaction
crazy.
that I get. Yes, I mean, I tell people that know me, that who see me out. It's not stuff I usually put out. Experiences when I was a child and speaking with someone in the room, and just experiences that I've had all along with being able to know, okay, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, or why did this happen to this one way over there, and I knew about it. How come?
Right.
And I never questioned it.
Well,
But-
that's like what happened at the house, and not only what happened at the house, but what happened with me with these entities that had
Right.
attached to me. It did change my life, and that is why I'm sharing this story.
So in
it's
what
actually in a
ways-
screenplay form right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Thank
They're
you.
going to be putting you up on TV. All right, they're
That
going
would
to be
be
putting you in the
awesome.
movies.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We got you on TV, and then they're going to go next to the movies, and we're going to see you on the big screen. I mean,
You never know.
have to get somebody to play you and see who we
I've
can
got
do.
someone picked out.
Oh, that's
Leslie
good.
Mann. I want Leslie
Oh,
Mann. She
okay.
so reminds me of it. She's got my personality.
There we go. And you can play
Leslie
one of the
Mann.
psychics who brought it.
Yeah, my wife read your book and she loved it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I had brought it home when we first got it, and I left it on the table. And my husband eventually got around to this. I'm curious about this, and he read it as well. He's
you.
our producer in the booth, and I started to read it myself. I didn't get all the way through it. I've got to confess, I didn't get all the way through because I get so busy running here and there and everywhere. I get to be taxi mom and all that stuff.
Right.
So that takes a lot out of you.
Well, I did write another book, and it's out there with Titan
Ah.
Books right now. Is looking at it to
Okay.
possibly represent me.
What's the title of that one?
It's called The Emerald Island Elixir, and it is about energy healing because that's what I'm really into now is life coaching, and I do the energy work myself. So I have MichelleZirkle.com
Right.
and VerbalAbuseMentor.com, and that is where my passion is right now, is just paying this forward and helping other people, and I've really enjoyed doing that. So the book, The Emerald Island Elixir, although it's fabricated, it's a fictional book, and it's set in Ireland, and I went to Ireland a few years ago and absolutely loved it.
Wow.
And that book is based on energy healing and the fact
Okay.
that you can, energy healers don't really heal people themselves so much as what we heal ourselves. So they facilitate the healing
Okay.
within yourself that we
Right.
all have the innate ability to do. And we just need to sometimes have those energy channels rejuvenated. We need them cleared out. That's what an energy healer does.
That's just when they clear them out. It's bringing people to the surface with this stuff. It's making them realize that yes, these things that you're seeing or feeling or hearing are there, and let's let them be known so that you don't feel like you're in the dark. Is that so? When
Well,
the energy is
sometimes-
healing, because I feel like
sometimes.
when people come in and they see you, maybe just you telling them what they need to hear. Can that sometimes open them up? Because sometimes I feel like
you mean open their gifts up?
Yeah, they just don't know it yet. You just have to coax them to pull this out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, sometimes just talking to someone can open
Trigger something.
trigger something,
Right.
open that up. So that's part of the life coaching component of energy healing. Not every energy healer is a life coach,
Right.
and not every life coach is an energy healer. But I incorporate both because the lady that I go to in Charleston, West Virginia, is her example is what I follow because it really helped me. The energy healing component of it was equally as important as her advice and her willingness to listen and actually show unconditional love. And I think that is the key to everything, really.
Oh, yeah.
Is when you can feel absolutely, totally loved no matter what you do or who you're with or how much is in your bank account or any of that
Right.
stuff. It makes a difference, and it made a profound difference
It
on
does,
me.
yeah.
And that's when I started being able to look at my life and realize this is not really what I want to do with my life. And by that, I don't mean a profession. I've taught high school
Yeah.
for over 20 years, but I mean more how I'm living my life. So the authenticity, what do you really want to do when it's all said and done?
Right.
I was doing things to cope with the dysfunctional marriage component and the relationship that I really wasn't comfortable with. And it did stop when I started doing things to love myself. I started going to yoga. I started writing. I started finding passions and cultivating that love within myself.
And then
when
you
I
were
did
able to put
that made the
push that back.
difference.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Now, what can you explain the difference in the energy healing and life coaching? Energy healing is what exactly for people who don't know what an energy is and what the energy healing means.
Okay.
Like we'll walk around all day long and we've got great energy, and people go, "What do you mean?"
Well, we all are made of energy. Everything is made of energy. So energy healers a lot of times will work hands-on with people, although that's not necessary. You can do it at a distance. There's something called quantum entanglement, which is in the scientific field, which means that something here, say a molecule, an atom here, will definitely affect something in another universe. And it's been proven. You'll have to look it up because I am by no means, I do not teach science. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Now you're throwing out a whole nother term. That
Yes, it can be complicated, but it is just as simple as it is complicated. Trust me, because if I can wrap my head around it, and I'm so not scientific, you can too. My profession is teaching English, but quantum entanglement does explain how we can do distance healing and not have to have our hands literally, close to a person on a table.
Right.
But often it does include that. And some people just like that, closeness, that proximity of someone. And I found that very comforting as well.
Yeah.
But the distance healing does work. And so we all have meridians, which is where our energy lines actually connect to that divine that is the source of all. And those energy lines correspond to acupuncture points. Okay, and so those lines, they can get clogged like a water pipe would get clogged, and then the water can't run through.
Okay.
So if you imagine that, some people can see them, some people can't.
Right.
I don't see those lines specifically. Some people see auras, which I can see that, but I don't need to see the energy lines to know that they're there because I sense them. So that is one way that we can clean out and clear out that debris that gets cluttered. And all of these imprints that are with us literally from before birth come through, and we have to stay clean and clear, and that does help you to stay present in the moment. And that's where it's at, because this is the moment. We've talked about time today, haven't we?
Yes, we have. I mean, don't you notice, we'll sit here, we'll talk to Michele, and every time we do, it's like, oh gosh, time got away from us. And then you look and you say, well, it seems like we've been talking a really long time, but really we've been here for 2 minutes, but there's a lot to be said in that 2 minutes.
Yes.
And I think what you're saying with people with energy and energy healing then is basically, to me, I would explain it to people as opening up a pimple and unclogging those pores. You've got to let all that bad stuff out in order to let all the rest of the good stuff in.
Absolutely. And some of the Reiki is just one modality. There are many others I've studied because I've actually worked and completed my doctorate in metaphysics. So I just finished that up actually this last school year. So the energy that you're saying that comes in, that is one way that it comes in is through Reiki.
Right, okay.
But there are also other modalities, and one of those actually works with angels. And the angels that you place near people, they hover there, and they are ready for that person to progress as that person is ready to progress. And that is key too, because some people are not ready to take that next step. So they have to progress through it at their own pace.
Right.
And if they do their homework in a way, if they work on themselves, if they make decisions that they know are life enhancing for them, that is when they will start progressing, and not just have their gifts open up as far as, all of a sudden I can see an aura. Well, that's great,
that's
but you
not
can
what
go through
you're
your whole
looking for.
life and not see
Right.
an aura, and it's not necessary. I started seeing them at the Catholic Church because through this whole experience we started going to the Catholic Church and got the priest involved. Now I'm no longer Catholic. That was a very large component
What were
of
you
my life. I've been everything. Everything in between.
All right, well, what were you raised?
I was raised Pentecostal.
Okay.
Which is very close in the evangelical terms.
I was going to say, as far as
Catholic.
spirituality, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then everything in between. And now I haven't been to church per se for 4 years.
Yeah.
But I am definitely closer to God, and I feel totally secure in not doing that. I don't feel I need to. If that works for someone, that's wonderful.
Well, I think I think getting closer with people that have your life experiences, like Phil and I, when we connected, we just connected like two magnets that were, the positive and negative. They had to get together to create the complete circuit.
Right.
And people don't get that. It's something that's why I said, to explain the energy healing. What is the energy? A lot of people don't understand
There was
the
one
underlying
gentleman-
energy that drives everyone.
Right. There is that ultimate source of all that is. And there was a gentleman who, I was at the Rocket Boys Festival to meet Homer Hickam, and I did a book signing there with him. And I also do a radio show called Life Speaks. If anyone would like to check that out, it's podcast now on Social Voices, which is through Pennsylvania. But I got to interview Chad Lindbergh, was one of the people I got to interview. He's on Fast and Furious, and he's also on Ghost Stalkers on Destination America. So I got to interview him, but while I was at the Rocket Boys Festival, I met a gentleman, and his name's Jimmy Owens. Well, I didn't meet the Jimmy Owens that I hooked up with on Facebook.
Oh,
so
no.
it was one of those things that was meant to be, because
Yes.
as Jimmy and I are messaging and talking, and he said he got my book and he loved it, and then I happened to mention something about the Rocket Boys Festival, and he said, I think that you think I'm someone else. He wasn't the Jimmy Owen
wow.
that was a Rocket Boy. However, he read my book. He absolutely loved it, and he was led to Reiki healing for himself. Helped him in his back issue, because it is also a physical manifestation of healing, not just mental. And he now is a Reiki master. He has opened
wow.
his own business in Texas.
Wow. Now, how many
So-
years ago was that?
That was just last year.
Oh, it was only last year.
Yeah, the book came
So
out
he
in
went
2000.
to Reiki Master that fast. He went still full
Yes.
head on into
Yes,
it.
he jumped right into it afterwards. I think it may have been about 2 years ago that he actually read my book and
Right.
started going, and
Well,
then decided. So
I think once you gather momentum, it's like going down
Yeah.
a hill. You just you keep going. The more you see and the more open you get, the faster you want to get through there and see what else did I miss? What is it that I've got to find?
absolutely,
You know,
yes.
it's a snowball effect. You know, It's
Right.
like, I'm going to take it all.
That's what I was saying about your gifts opening. It is really cool when your gifts start opening, but it's not the same for everyone. It is
Right.
not the same for everyone. Everyone sees differently. We all perceive differently, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And it's all good.
Yes, and a lot of times I know that we've experienced things with people always expecting you to be just like they are, right?
Yeah.
And geez, Phil and I are two people who are a good example of we are not just like you are. You know, I mean,
Right.
some people they love the way you sing. Some people say, "Oh, not him again," and it's like, wait a minute. Why does this person like it and this one doesn't? It's because we're all different people. We
Yeah.
all have the different energies, and we all have different likes and dislikes and different tastes. It's the same as, I like to bite an apple. You may not like the apple.
Right.
It's the
Right.
same thing.
Yeah, I hear I'm a little different too. I don't know. I mean, in
I-
certain places.
Well, that's just, that's a different thing too. You see somebody in a different light if you see them in a different space.
Yeah, I got here in shorts today, right? I hopped out. I'd been to Planet Fitness. I'm like, okay, I will change, I promise. So then I walked in and like, oh, you do look a little different.
That must have
You
been
clean
you,
up
Phil. You got
okay.
here before I did.
Yeah. So I love New York, you all. I don't have the accent, and I don't really think I have the West Virginia accent. But when I travel, I hear
That's
it.
when you hear it, right?
I so hear people tell me that.
Yeah.
But I get a little bit like when I said that. I heard that. But
And you said y'all.
there's a lot worse. I promise you.
yeah.
There are, worse. I shouldn't say worse, but there's a lot more accent in West Virginia
yeah.
than what I have.
There is, yes.
I promised you that. But I do a radio show called Life Speaks, and I do share a lot of insights into numerology and
Yeah,
how life
numerology is
speaks
one of those
to
things
us.
that I do a lot with numbers. I like to look at numbers an awful lot. A lot of times, when we first met, Phil's just sitting here like, what? And he's just stunned because it's stuff that we just don't talk about.
Right.
Right? I keep it to myself unless I feel that something needs to be said to someone. And so
well,
he's just,
that the
yes.
numbers are a sign. They can be.
Numbers are very strong.
repetitive numbers can be a sign that your angels are near.
Yeah.
And that's just one way.
I've had two that I know of in my life for sure.
Names are another. Like the
Yeah.
same name will pop up. Michael, for instance, is my father's name. Of course, my name's Michelle, the female
Right.
version of it. My publisher's Michael. My web guy's Michael. The guy who's writing my manuscript is Michael. I can't tell you the Michaels that have stepped up. And when I hear that, I know. And Archangel Michael is obviously
okay.
very present with
Well,
me as well.
I've got a lot of Phils.
we have a
Fill
lot of
in the blank.
Right. It's like Mary told me things about myself that I never knew.
Right.
Her personality and stuff like that. Like, I always thought doing this and going out there and all, I've done national TV, films, and all this stuff. I just thought I was just extremely outgoing. And she's told me things that I didn't even know about myself.
That's true. Yeah, when you start to reveal things to people, they start to look backward and say, "Wait a minute, yeah."
Yeah. Well,
Now
believe it
that
or not,
makes
I would not
sense.
even get out on the stage in high school for drama. I
believe
did
it.
the makeup because I was too embarrassed to get out on the stage in drama.
But that's just it. I
So-
was a very, very shy kid. I used to get pushed around. I was always the smallest and, very, very shy. And people that know me now, you were never a shy kid.
Yeah,
Are
right.
you kidding me? I'm like, yes, I
Oh,
really was.
I know no one could believe I was either, but I was kind of the class clown.
And
I
they
guess.
think they don't realize he was bullied in school. And,
Oh.
I keep on bullying people because you're making us stronger. Go ahead, keep doing it.
It can work that way.
It does.
With a certain
Sometimes
personality, and
if,
sometimes
if
it
you've
goes
got
south
the
real quick.
it can be dangerous, and
Mm-hmm.
or it could be like we're fooling around with it, and we're going to throw it over to Phil and fool around with it, and then all of a sudden he's going to feel something. Wow. Oh, okay. Now I feel good.
Right.
Usually, whenever we get together, he's brought down from whatever it is that he's experiencing. If it's negative, we'll get together, and all of a sudden he feels better. I'm
Right.
wonderful, and he's got to call me up and tell me all these things. And when he's not feeling good, he's got to just get me on the phone.
There are those people
That
that are in
is-
your life, and they're there to inspire you. And I guess that's where that word "inspire" is. I guess how I would describe. I write a column for a newspaper too, for several newspapers actually. They're even in some newspapers out south now, or out west now, the other south.
Right.
So I do write a column for a newspaper, for several newspapers, and that topic, I guess, of inspiration is that's where I feel I fit. Is just trying to inspire people to live the way they want to live, and they can. They absolutely
Right.
can. They just need to get in touch, and getting in touch with the divine. You don't have to go to an energy healer to do that. You can do it in
No.
the woods. The
That's
woods is a
right.
wonderful place to get in touch. And
Yeah.
I try to go walk out in the woods. That's my sanctuary. It's the dirtiest,
Yes,
most divine sanctuary,
it is.
actually. If you Google that, the dirtiest, most divine sanctuary, it's a short piece that was in we did an anthology with my West Virginia writers are there too, some of them, but it's a Pennsylvania mindful writers group, and we did an anthology, and that piece that I wrote originally was a column for the newspaper called "The Dirtiest, Most Divine Sanctuary,"
Right.
and that is the woods for me.
Well,
for sure.
that's the thing. My father used to tell my brother. I know when my father passed, my brother told me, "Oh, Dad used to always say to me, all right, people want to go to church all the time. They want to do this, and they want to go pray, and they have to go ask for absolution. They've got to,
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
said,
one of the things I did not agree with.
That's
Catholic
one of those things that my dad would say to my brother. Well, go down to the river and just look out there. There you finding your peace and your tranquility, and that is your sanctuary."
Yes.
And the river was his. And like for you, it's the woods. For
Right.
me, it's any place that
And if you have a woods
that
and
I'm
a river,
out.
hey, you're golden.
But that's it.
That's the best thing. Woods
and
with
I've
a
always
creek.
lived
Absolutely.
near both.
Oh yeah.
So of course,
Very
when my dad passed, he was cremated, and he was always speaking about the river, the river, the river.
Very cleansing.
Yes, and he wanted his ashes in the river, and he always insisted. So of course, that's what we did.
Oh, that's nice.
We took him to one of the places that was very, very significant in our family, and we put his ashes in the water at that spot.
That's nice.
So it was I've heard people say that before. Some people they feel they're deeply religious, which is great. I'm not knocking anybody for their religion or their beliefs or how they practice their religion. But everybody has a chance to practice a religion every day, no matter where you are.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't even say that the
On your
word
front
religion there
porch.
for me wouldn't even
And it's not
apply.
even that. It's your spirituality.
Spirituality,
Yes,
absolutely.
because people
Yeah.
say to me, "Well, what church do you go to? Oh, you don't go to church? Oh, don't you believe in God? Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, I do, and I have a good relationship.
Well, that's interesting because I was going to church. I went to church on and off from all my life since I
Right.
was 7 years old, and I went to my preacher that had married my husband and I, who I grew up across the street from,
Right.
in a little town called Middleport, Ohio. And he was not sure how to help me. He was a very, very wonderful gentleman, a lovely man, very kind, and he did not know how to help me with this particular problem because
Right.
it wasn't something he had ever had experience with. So he actually referred me to the father that ended up helping us, who was
The
also in
Catholic.
Ohio.
Uh-huh.
We lived on the border of West Virginia and Ohio, so it was a very small community. It almost seemed
Wow.
like one state.
Yeah.
And so I understand now that many priests cannot actually, or will not, do the house exorcisms unless you are Catholic. And I
Right.
did not, fortunately, for us, we did not have that issue.
Mhm.
Father very willingly stepped forward and
You were
came to our
lucky.
house and helped us initially with a house blessing,
Mhm.
and he was able to help us. And he also did have to, of course, get permission from the diocese. But I'm very thankful for the entire experience in a nutshell. Just I couldn't be more thankful. I'm very honored to be able to share the story with you all.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's-
Mary and
it's
Phil, for having
wonderful.
me, because all I want to do is share the story. It was fantastic, but there's a lot of people who have paranormal experiences
Yes.
that are, maybe they're not exactly the same as mine. Maybe they didn't have water shooting across the wall or see a demon in the mirror like I did. I didn't mention earlier. But maybe they didn't have quite that experience. But there are tons of paranormal experiences out there. And the reason that mine is different in many ways is because it did change my life for the better. So
Yeah.
I now go, like, I will go to the salt caves and do meditations and help people. And if anyone's interested, there's
That's the
rainknoevil.com
name of the book.
that they can go to. They can go to michelezirkle.com
Mhm.
and
Well, that's
see
it.
what
In
I
the beginning of the
do.
show, I said, "Well, this is Michelle," because we have Michelle Savannah Zirkle Markham.
Right, it was
So
Markham. It's
if-
Michelle Savannah Zirkle.
right, so
It's
now
okay.
it's-
The
Do you use
poster
the middle
still
name
says Markham.
too?
Yes, I do use, and I changed my middle name. It was Sue. It's Savannah now.
Okay.
Because in the book I'm Savannah, spelled a little
Oh,
differently.
nice.
I love
Okay.
Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, I was going to say,
Yeah.
does that have anything to do with anything? So
It does. Savannah, Georgia rocks.
So it is Michelle Zirkle, and I didn't want to make that mistake, so I say, let me go with her first name.
It's-
we
it's
clear
just
that
a name. It's
up.
okay.
That's just it. But if you don't have the right name, you can't find this material
That's
you're
right.
looking for.
If you type in Ring No Evil, I guarantee you'll find it.
There we go.
I'm out there.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so-
I know we've dumbfounded Phil for the whole hour, pretty
Right.
much.
He
Wow.
was with two women. He didn't have a chance.
I'm telling you, it's a good thing if he was in between us, maybe. But do you have any questions for Michelle before we have to break off of here and say goodnight to everybody?
I mean, I start here in astonishment. You just amazed me. I mean, I thank you so much for coming, and
You're welcome.
I don't know what to say. I mean, it is.
I'm telling you, he's like this all the time with me. How did you
Inspiring.
know this? How did you see this? How do you know these things? I don't know, I just do.
So it works, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be able to share
So
with
thanks
you.
a million for coming.
Thank
and
you for coming in, Frank.
want-
Thank you for coming over here.
Yes, and we thank everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
That's right. Second show. Of
Second
season
show of
23.
season 23. Welcome to our new season.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.